gone one time in my life. No, it scarred me for life. I snowboard now though, but this downhill skiing, yeah.
No, quite.
I know snowboarders are very uncouth. They really ruin your trails. I am too.
Gave it up. Well, I tried it for like maybe 2 hours and I kept it. Did a jump around and things. I'd rather jump over the whole thing. The two that were going down. Yeah, okay. Must someone else is easier to do. I seems on my favorite. Yeah.
You can nominate anyone who's not here, Gordon. You would check. For 2026.
The last time I don't have a problem doing it. If you misbehave, we'll let you know. No, actually, I misbehave all the time. I probably can't be the one. There was a lot of traffic in it.
Back around, yeah, I want.
Oh, you should
Oh, yeah,
have
get ready.
paper.
All right, I'd like to call the January 8th, 2026 Parks and Rec Advisory Board meeting to order. Would staff please call the roll?
Fava,
Present.
Dolphin,
Present.
Scudder,
Present.
Queen,
I'm present.
Via, Annette.
Here.
Thank you. And Connie, as well as Denise, both have excused absences. You have a quorum.
All right, that brings us to the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda in 2020. Sorry, I move to approve the October 2nd, 2025 regular meeting minutes.
I second that.
All right. We're talking about the agenda here, yeah? Instead of the minutes? Yeah. We'll do the minutes after. Or we could go to order. It doesn't really make that much of a difference, but.
I would.
Yes.
I second that.
All right, any changes that we want to make to the agenda? Any objections to approving the agenda? Hearing none, the agenda is approved, which will take us to the minutes from our regular October 2nd, 2025 meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as they are in here?
I motion to approve the minutes.
Do we have a second?
A second.
Yes. And if we don't have any objections or changes to the minutes, seeing none, we will approve our minutes for October 2nd, 2025. Brings us to our scheduled public comments and presentations. I see none, which takes us to our first action item. We are looking to select a board chair and a vice chair. So we're looking for any nominations for the Parks and Rec Advisory Board chair.
I'd like to nominate Eric Dolphin for the board chair.
I second that.
Are there any other nominations? All right. Hearing none, are there any objections to selecting me, Eric Dolphin, as the chair for 2026? I hear none. I guess that means I, Eric Dolphin, am the 2026 Parks and Rec Advisory Board chair. Which brings us to our second item in here, which is nominations for the Parks and Rec Advisory vice chair. Are there any nominations for the vice chair? Did we have a vice chair last time? Penny was vice chair. All right, I'll nominate Penny Vodla for vice chair.
Okay.
I second that.
Any objections to selecting Penny Vodla as vice chair for 2026? Hearing none, Penny Vodla is the 2026 Parks and Rec Advisory Board vice chair. So, which I think takes us to voting. If there are two folks nominated, the chair should ask to show hands for candidate A and candidate B. Do we have to do that part? Gotcha. If there are multiples. All right. Which takes us to our second action item, our City of Soldotna naming policy. Is there a motion to approve the recommended action as presented?
I motion to approve it as it is stated.
All right, and I'll second that as well. And then we have the staff report.
All right. So I won't go into a great bit of detail because we did have a work session on this and most of us were all in attendance. We did take a few suggestions from the work session and kind of tweaked a little bit of language. We ran it through staff at the city and just kind of wordsmithed a few things to kind of align some of the language with some of our other documents, but nothing drastic. The only sort of kind of, I don't know, not major change, but change that we wanted to kind of point out was originally we had thought that the city manager would appoint the panel of to work on the naming, and we've changed that to the mayor, and that aligns with the way the boards and commissions are taken care of. It's the mayor that actually appoints the boards and commissions people, and so we kind of are aligning it with that strategy. So that's on kind of second page, number 6 and 7 of who actually is appointing the names or the individuals involved. We kept it at 5, smaller group, easier to manage. But everything else kind of everybody was kind of on board with the direction that we're going. So I won't go into any great detail because we've already done that a little bit, unless there was questions or concerns or thoughts or anything jumped out at anybody. Yeah, it's kind of my short report.
Okay. It's open for discussion. If there's any board members that want to comment or have further discussion on our naming policy here. And looks like we have none, so we can call for a vote to approve.
I move approval of the is it the whole section, isn't it?
Motion on the floor.
Yeah, we
Just a
we
vote.
did.
It is on the
Yeah.
floor, okay. No, I thought I did, but I can't seem to find it. I did, on page 4, I saw a plaque, but a recognition. Is that a recognition plaque? That's what I wondered. Is that the question 4.2? I think my page numbers are wrong.
Yeah, probably. I mean, we've done plaques for, like, the Fred Meyer Pavilion has a plaque, so because they donated a certain amount of money. I don't think that's a standard practice, but normally when people donate money, that happens.
So if it's not standard practice, I don't honestly care what we do, but if we want to do that, I think it could be an option. I mean, it can go either way, because a lot of people donate.
Hmm.
So thank you. And the manager, I wondered about that, so thank you for that. And you have here, naming may be initiated by the manager, city council resolution, and then members of the public, or is it community proposal? It has to be by a whole community proposal, or is it members of the public? On page 5. Were we doing the
Yeah.
whole section, or is it?
You have that old version.
Oh, gosh, that's okay. I ran it off. It's my fault.
But you're exactly right, because that is what we suggested to change. And so now it's, by members of the board.
Oh, okay.
And that was just to clean up who, it doesn't have to be a committee like you were thinking. It can be any passionate human that's in our community. It doesn't have to be a whole team.
Thank you.
Other questions or discussion? All right, seeing none, that would take us to a vote here.
Badla,
Yes.
Dolphin,
Yes.
Scudder,
Yes.
Via, Annette,
Yes, sorry, it's maneuvering.
Jamie, our queen.
Yes.
Thank you. Kyle and Hackett are both absent, so motion passed.
All right, excellent. That takes us to our reports here. So we have our Parks and Rec Director's report.
All right. We've been fairly busy this past couple months. There's a lot of numbers in here related to the field house. Obviously, that's our exciting new toy. So we've been kind of tracking participation, and kind of the first page of the report with for the September report, you can kind of see that we're getting some big spikes on certain days when we have our homeschool programs in there. getting up to that 300 people in the building per day. Lots of people walking, lots of tot times. You know, the drop-in adult futsal program has been very successful. And obviously pickleball was just gangbusters. They did an intro to pickleball class night activity, and there must have been like 80 people there. It was insane. Like there was too many pickleball players, and these are all people that have never played before. They just wanted to learn the game. So like we knew it was going to be a pickleball palace, and it definitely is definitely happening. Ice arena is obviously back up and running. You know, staffing's going crazy. We did have a holiday skating extravaganza a couple weeks ago where all of our Learn to Skate kids get out on the ice, and there's a big 4 hour long production with music and skating, and that was pretty cool to see. There was, you know, adults synchronized production all the way down to little 2-year-olds out there skating. So that's always a fun one to see. As we drift into this color coded graph stuff, you can kind of see November Fieldhouse participation keeps going up and up and up. We started out, we were averaging about 126 people a day. October was 173 and November was 209. I imagine December dipped a little bit because that's when we rotated to turf. But to see, you know, a couple hundred people in there and just a ton of people walking, you know, is pretty insane to see. Yeah, some of those days were, you know, you'd have a couple hundred people just walking. So we did host several big events in there like we had hoped and planned. So the Boys and Girls Club auction was in the field house. We did Kenai River Classic was in the field house, Soup Supper, and one other one. There was it Siri also did a one night event. So just like we had hoped, it's not just for pickleball. It's an event space too. We rolled out the carpet, which went down pretty well. Brought in some fancy tables and chairs. The Boys and Girls Club kind of went crazy with decorations, but really turned that venue into a pretty special place. And they were very excited that they didn't have to be in the Cars Mall anymore. Typically, I think they were trying to get 300 people to their event, limited to the size of the Cars Mall. And I think they had over 500 this year. So just more opportunity for fundraising for the kids in our community. So very cool. What other highlights? Turkey Trot, first ever Turkey Trot that we've organized. So we opened up the field house on Thanksgiving and let people run their, you know, burn a couple calories before they ate a bunch of turkey. And that was very successful. We hosted our first movie inside the field house. We had over 100 people come watch a holiday movie in there on the turf. So that was pretty cool to see. We used to do it out in the park, which I still wish we did, but you know, sometimes it'd be minus 36 and, you know, it was hard to navigate the weather. In the field house, it's a little bit easier to take care of the weather. So different feel, but still cool. Couple other things. We are starting 2 sports leagues next week. We are organizing an indoor soccer league. The Boys and Girls Club for a long time had offered an indoor soccer program. We inherited that from them this year. That's kindergarten to 5th grade, 5-on-5 small-sided games. Really freed up the Boys and Girls Club to be able to offer different programming that they had hoped. So they're expanding their volleyball program and a couple others that they're hoping. So it just gives them the capacity to do other things. So, and the community still has an indoor soccer program. So it's kind of a win-win for both of us. We currently have over 200 kids signed up for that program in 3 different age groups. We're starting our NFL flag football program, which is another 5-on-5 game. You might have seen some of that stuff on TV if you ever watch NFL football. They're always advertising the flag football programs that they're running all over the nation. So we will have very cool looking NFL logoed, it'll be the 49ers versus Seattle Seahawks, maybe Boston. We have 120 kids, and that's fourth grade up to high school. And then we have 60 adults that are signed up for the co-ed flag football adult league. And that all starts next week. So we're pretty excited about that. I don't know if you can pull that photo up real quick, Jen. This is happening as we speak. So the painters are in the field house painting the sports lines. So the flag football lines and the soccer lines are going down tonight. So that's very exciting. You can see some of the white starting to pop in there. That was as I was running out the door. What else? So campgrounds. We can talk campgrounds. Another colorful, fun sheet of numbers. A couple things to kind of peek at is, the over 100,000 people in Centennial, over 60,000 people in Swiftwater, and 30 in Rotary. This is using some new software that we're dabbling with that uses cell phone tracking numbers and does some weird algorithm program and kind of gives us an idea of how many people are in our facilities, because we can't actually just stand out there and count. So you can see that's a lot of humans coming into our facilities and using our facilities. So it's pretty cool. The nights camping, that's a little bit easier. We track that just from sales. You can see we've creeped up over 10,000 camping nights per year. Typically that boost is normally related to how well the fishing is. The better the fishing, the more people camping. So we're definitely at capacity though. 10,000 was a little too much. We're struggled this year for sure. It was a little too crazy in July, but it was crazy in the whole city in July. So tons and tons of camping, tons of day use fishing. Just everything's going up. And then revenue obviously is going up too. Or unofficial. This is not finance director's numbers, but kind of our numbers. We're pretty close. But $600,000 revenue in our campgrounds. And I don't have the budget in front of me, but we basically break even in the campgrounds when you take into all the staffing costs. Staffing is obviously a huge part of everything. So it's for revenue. I bet you we were at a little over 500, 520, I bet. Yes. Normally we have about 7 days of really crazy red fishing where you can catch, a million fish in 5 minutes. This year we had, 3.5 weeks. And so people were staying longer and more people were coming. Yeah, it was very crazy. But we also used a lot of toilet paper and a lot of cleaning supplies and we fixed a lot of things. So it's a fun part of our job. The big thing with our campgrounds is that many people are staying in Soldotna. They're going to Fred Meyer's, they're going to Safeway, they're going to, Trustworthy's, they're going to Ken's Tackle. So it's nice to keep, although it adds stress to all of our lives in July, it is nice to have that many people spending money in our stores and not Homer or Kenai. Refrigeration system, we will have a work session with council in March. So we're getting close to providing our recommendation of what we hope will happen with the refrigeration system. Remember, it's a very, very old system that needs replaced at some point in time. And so we've talked about that a few times with this group, and we're still talking about it, coming up with a game plan and possible funding sources. But just know that is still looming. Dump stations, we've talked about a little bit. We used to have 2 dump stations in our campgrounds that also were 1 million years old and finally failed. And so we did demolish them. And we're working on solutions to that also right now. so that there is hopefully something in our community. Fred Meyer's was also down for the past year and a half. So we hear about that a lot, and we are working on a couple different ideas. Soccer. No, their hopes is to bring it back online. Yep. But they have, yeah.
When people are dumping that stuff, do they actually, do other boats that aren't fishing on the river come in and throw a lot of stuff in some of those dumps, and that adds to it as well? Somebody said that to me and I said, I don't know.
I'm talking about two different dump stations. Mine is poop.
Oh,
So RVs using gray water and black water. But we do have a fish cleaning station. And so people can bring their dip netted fish into our park, pay a day use fee, or go to our fish cleaning station, which has, a platform with running water, or a tabletop to cut fish on. And then those fish are, repurposed back into the river. So that is a burden on our facilities and our neck of the water, but it is, this year we were actually finding fish carcasses everywhere. We would find them in the boat launch. People would dump them in the middle of the night, like hundreds of carcasses, both at Centennial and Swiftwater. We found them in our cemetery this year. Somebody just rolled into the cemetery and dumped a bunch of fish carcasses. So they can't figure out how to go to the dump. I don't know so they find other spots.
so hypothetically, it could be people just getting in there. Do they just drive around and get in the Centennial Park?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting.
Not a huge problem, but it's just an annoying problem. But we have lots of annoying problems. That's kind of my spiel highlights of what we've been up to. Unless there's any questions, thoughts, concerns.
Always have questions, I'm sorry.
That's
By the
great.
way, thank you for this report. I really enjoyed reading it. With the holiday bazaar, is that advertised so anybody can go to that? And is it, okay, that's what I assumed. Somebody said, is that advertised? No, I don't know for sure. So the Grateful State as well, I really liked that. And I don't remember, and I've been so busy this past summer, but I usually bring a lot of stuff to the food bank, and I brought things, but I didn't know you could bring more. So that went quite well too, didn't it?
Yeah, we do quite a few food drives. We do a couple food drives, and also the Brown Bears do a couple food drives at some of their games. So we always try to load up as much as we can. I think the movie was Turkey Trot was by donation, and the Christmas recital. So there's a couple opportunities that.
And how does that get advertised? If you're somebody either visiting somebody else or you're somebody who lives there who's really busy, is that advertised or is it word of mouth?
It is advertised, it goes out in newsletters, it goes, social media. It's, it goes, there's a flyer that we send out to every kid in the school district, goes in their backpack. Whether that makes it to a parent is, it is what it is. It's one attempt. But I think a lot of, our, like the Grateful Skate, like our public skate community is pretty loyal. They come to all the big skate events. If you're an ice skater, you kind of know what's going on, and you're at the rink and you see the posters, and so we're kind of hitting our usual clientele on some of these events. Mm-hmm. Mm. No, the bags of ice we purchase and then resale. The wood we cut and bundle ourselves. So it's not a huge money maker, but it's it's a convenience thing for our campers that are in our facilities to to be able to just grab it right there. They don't have to drive away. If you've ever tried to get in and out of Centennial in the summertime, it's kind of a challenge. So, being able to just walk up to the booth and grab a couple bags of ice and not have to like leave and then come back and cause more, you know, s- congestion in there is, it's kind of just a service we like to offer.
Thank you, and I wanted to say I'm really happy with the number of season passes. And those passes, are they 60? No, how much are they for this?
Yeah, there's 62 or 3 or something like that for
Yeah,
the
so-
season pass for day use. Yep.
When people are launching boats, that doesn't seem to be as many people who are doing that, but that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, the boat launches in our area of the river are have been down for a while because of kingfishing. Our locations were dominated by kingfishermen, whereas a lot of guides are using some of the lower river launches if they're going to go dip netting or go for reds. So we're down in boat launches, but that's okay. Hmm. Yep, that's all I got.
I think Joel. Anybody else have any other questions or comments for Joel?
Actually, I had one question that isn't about this, but Arc Lake. Are you guys going to be putting anything in on Arc Lake this year?
Yes, we hope. The past couple of years, Mother Nature has not allowed us to because of it'll rain and freeze and then rain and thaw and then rain and freeze. I think we have enough ice to get out there, but our equipment doesn't operate at minus 30. So, yeah. So we are, speaking of some ice skating, the family skate night is on for tomorrow. It should warm up to be good enough. So Soldotna Elementary School every Friday, 6 to 8 for January and February. We bring out the lights and the boom box, and the PTA is often selling hot cocoa and cookies and stuff like that. And then Arc Lake, we hope to get out as soon as it warms up and see if we can clear some of that ice off and see what it looks like, and then try to hot mop it.
Did you say the Soldotna event? That's a weekly on Fridays?
Yep, every Friday for January and February.
Cool.
Yep. I think we go by recess rules, so if it's below -5 or something, I don't remember what it is.
10 below.
10 below,
Yep.
then we cancel it.
Used to be 20.
Yeah. But we will be out there tomorrow. We're crossing our fingers. We're gonna make it happen. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
All right. Well, thank you, Joel. Yeah, definitely. I'm watching that 10 below mark every day at school, so I don't have to go to recess. That takes us to our next item, which would be my report as the board chair. I don't have a ton to report. It's been a bit cold for me to be out in any of the parks, but I've definitely been in and out of the field house a ton. I'm actually over Christmas break. I had my Sohai, the Sohai boys and girls soccer teams hosted a camp in there, and I think we had, I don't know, approximately 50 kids, just about, come in for a little soccer camp that was a couple hours, which went really well. It allowed us to sell some raffle tickets, things like that, as we're trying to raise some funds for our upcoming season. But I've kind of had a bit of a break in the field house as the conversion has been happening. The lines are getting painted, but here in the next couple weeks, I'll be back in there at least 2 times a week. I'm really excited. I was actually really struck as the turf went in. When you go in that building now, when it feels vastly different, which is crazy to me, that just changing the floor, like it feels like a bigger space. And maybe that part of that is just the curtains being in a different configuration than they were when the courts were in there, but it definitely feels like a big space. And a lot of the people I've talked to who've gone in since the turf has gone in have been like, "Whoa, yeah, this is cool!" Like, excited. So especially seeing the photo with the lines, that just gives another sense of scale as you start to think about how big the playing surface actually is. So that's really exciting for me. I've been in there, but otherwise, I don't have a ton to report. It's been cold, and I've been hunkering down a little bit. So that's it for me. Which takes us to our city manager report, which I don't think we have anybody today. We do. Excellent. We usually don't.
Been playing with this. Okay, just one small item to put on your radar that, as you know, the city council adopted an ordinance enacting a lodging tax, and that has been implemented. And there's been revenue coming, people filing their reports and revenue coming in. And by code, the council, it's a special appropriation by the council. However, the recommendation also comes through you. So I believe it'll be before late spring that it'll be before you. We're starting to work on internally a recommendation to bring forward, and then we'll bring that forward to you. And then on to city council for their approval. We're planning for about the mid-biennium timeframe, so that's when you will see it. And that's all I have unless you have any questions. We are also dealing with the cold and the challenges of the cold.
All right, thank you. Which takes us to our next item, which is the city council ex officio report, which is Jordan over here.
Okay, I have my report. Thank you. So just kind of a recap on city council activities since our last Park and Recreation Advisory Board meeting. So on our November 12th meeting with council, we had a couple things on that one. Specifically, we had an ordinance that dealt with modifying our election dates for the city moving forward, and then also clarifying how we're going to handle runoffs and noticing requirements on those. We also had a really fantastic presentation at meeting from the Kenai Peninsula Hockey Association that came to kind of share how things have been going this year. They were deeply appreciative of the opportunity to have extended ice this year, given that we've shifted a lot of those summer operations over to the field house and are able to extend the ice season. So a lot of very positive feedback from that community. At our December 17th meeting, similarly, we had a presentation from the fields of the ends of the field house at that meeting. Similar to the Hockey Association, they're also very deeply appreciative of the opportunities that the field house has afforded our community. And they shared a lot of the same stats that we saw in the trends with the slideshow this evening, just showing the continual increase in use of that facility by members here. And then additionally, they also shared just some of the numbers that they've been doing with financial assistance for people that want to use the facility. So I wasn't aware of this, but I know they had programs to help facilitate the financial aspects of use of the building. But one thing that Tim Dillon had mentioned is that they had been purchasing punch cards that they keep at the front desk there. And if people come in, they can't afford the tuition or the fees, I should say, to get in, they just punch off that. It's funded for by the Friends of the Fieldhouse. So that was really fantastic to hear. And then coming up at our January 14th meeting next week, we actually do have a little bit more of a busier agenda compared to the light ones we've been dealing with. So we have a lot of discussion relating to ordinances on short-term rentals in the city. We have one ordinance that's going to clean up some administrative language with those and the code relating to taxes and who we exempt from taxing, with those STR uses, and then additionally just changing some permit requirements, make them consistent across all zoning districts in a separate ordinance. Another thing we have coming up is we'll be appropriating or authorizing an increase of about $1.7 million of line of credit from Alaska DEC for a dewatering project at the wastewater treatment plants. We had authorized, I think, around $2 million for that. So this would bring the total load up to about 3.7, but this is fairly good news to the community because about 2 million of that's forgiven and the rest is funded through congressionally designated spending. So big project, fully paid for potentially. And then additionally, we'll also be having a resolution urging Congress to reauthorize the National Parks and Public Land Legacy Restoration Fund at our next meeting as well. So I think that basically covers everything we've been doing or have coming up that I would reasonably relate to parks. The only other thing I'd remind is that on February 25th, we do have pending legislation for the riverfront redevelopment project. So we had two ordinances that previously came up this fall on that as far as adopting the zoning code for the riverfront redevelopment and then actually rezoning that district. I know there's a lot of potential as far as recreational opportunities with the rezone and development of that district. So it's something to keep on your radar as members of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. And then lastly, I just want to say thanks to the turkey trot this year. I know you mentioned that during your report. My wife and kid and I went out and really enjoyed being able to have an opportunity to get out of the house on Thanksgiving and get some steps in. And little one was just running all over the place, and supporting the food bank was kind of a cool way to do it. So thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. All right, that brings us to our next item here, which is public comments. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment? No? All right. So now we have our council comments. Do you have any additional comments, Jordan?
None, just grateful to be here and hope everyone's staying warm.
We'll try. All right, which brings us to our board member comments. Do we have any comments from the board members? I'm sure we can start on this side. I'm sure we have some over here.
I'm really excited. Did he just diss me? You're in trouble. I really appreciate all the hard work you put in here, and I'm really excited about all the things that are happening at the field house. I saw more people when I went walking the other day with Caitlin. It was amazing. And playing soccer, I'm trying to get a little better than Scotty, so I need some help. But I see the kids out there and they're different ages and people are walking together and I'm running into so many, not literally, people that I know that I haven't seen in a long time. So I see more and more people using that facility. And even when it's cold, I mean, I see people going in there because they want to get exercise. And it's not just people who are 60, 70, 80 or whatever. It's all ages. And little kids are meeting other little kids. So thank you for everybody who made this happen. So, and I don't have anything else because I've had a long day with my granddaughter. The earrings, jealous, and that.
All right, thank you. Anybody else have any comments?
My comments were very similar, just that there's been a lot of talk about how great the field house is. I did have to laugh when I was asked about Arc Lake. I said, well, the temperatures, maybe just go to the ice rink on Saturday. So, but anyway, no, it's just that everybody's very happy about the field house and how great it all came together and how it's all working. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. One thing I will piggyback on one of Penny's comments. Not just with the camp that we ran, but in a lot of the drop-in futsal stuff that was happening, it was really encouraging to see older kids that were there with younger kids. Obviously at the camp, we had a bunch of high school kids who were there to work with the youth, the elementary school age kids who were there to play. But even during the drop-in futsal events, when it was, say, you know, the middle school through high school kids, that's 6th grade through 12th grade. We actually had quite a few kids who were in like juniors and seniors who were coming in. Sure, they're there to play, but it's maybe not to the speed that they would like. So really a lot of what they're doing is kind of mentoring a lot of the youth players, which I think, not just for soccer. I think the field house in general, I've seen that with some of the basketball people who've been in there playing. There's been some older people along with some younger kids, as you know, and high school kids with adults playing. So I really think the sense of community that it's building in that building is pretty awesome. So I've been really encouraged to see that because I think the more we can get those connections made, I think the better our community will be for it. That's all I got. Anybody else have any comments? We have one more. Oh yes, do our Zoomies have any comments?
I'm sorry, Jamie, you're a little broken up.
I said I'm good today. You guys probably can understand me anyway.
Yeah, anybody else online that wants to comment? Silence would also suffice. All right. See, none of that takes us to the adjournment of the meeting. Our next regular meeting will be held on Thursday, April 2nd, 2026 at 5:30. And see no other items on the agenda. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, guys.